My name is Nadika Ranatunka, representing PMSS Academy, and I'm working there in the capacity of visiting lecture. And today I'll be your host, and thank you everyone for joining with us today. So the today topic is lean in sustainability. We introduce today's train. She's Ms. Dayaratna is a sustainability professional with over 12 years of international experience in environmental management, social compliance and sustainability, as well as in the auditing process in apparel, textile, footwear, and hard goods sectors. So she serves as the head of sustainability at an international auditing and training organization as well, and leading sustainability strategy. And she's using some tool development and capacity building as well. Her expertise includes carbon footprinting, life cycle assessment, sustainability reporting, and EU regulations such as CBAM, CSRD, and digital product passports. And this is our team overview. So you will see the Paul Mendes is our CEO, and Subhadip Silva is the Director of Education and Strategic Development, and Vernon Senanayak is Non-Executive Director, and we have our brand ambassador, Colin Vos.
Thank you, Nadika. Thank you so much for that introduction about me and also our PMSS. Very good evening to everybody. First of all, we'd like to thank you all for joining this session. Today, we are going to discuss about how we're going to integrate lean and green into the manufacturing plus your day-to-day life events. Today, we are planning to cover the foundational concepts behind the lean and green, because we need to know about why we are using this, what is the purpose of this, and then understanding these two concepts in the manufacturing perspective, how we're going to apply these two, and if we integrate these two, and how we're going to implement it in a real practical life. So that will be discussed. And also, when we are implementing these different styles, lean or green, we are always facing barriers, and we have to think about strategies and all that. So end of the session, we describe about the barriers, the drivers, and the implementation strategy as the person who will represent your organization and also individually. We much talk about the green concept, climate change, sustainability reporting when it's come to the organizations, net zero. So why do you think why we are addressing these things? Today, always it is about how we live, how we work, and how we use resources. Because these days we are much pay attention, not only the organization, in individual. So we are much concerned about the resources, saving resources, for example, energy. Why we do these things? It is because of the climate change. We are very evident with that, with the recent situation as Sri Lankans, we face this Divate, the hurricane. But this time, the 10% out of the annual rainfall happened within 24 hours in that 27th, 28th November period. And we faced a huge natural catastrophe which we have never seen or never experienced. So this is actually reason for the climate change, and also it is not because of our the Sri Lankan impact. No, it's a global impact. Because of the global impact, as island, Sri Lanka is an island, we face the consequences of that. So it will show that environment is no longer a choice for the decision making, and it is not a compromise, and also it is not the second option.
It's code red for humanity. Each passing day is a battle for survival. Today, we face extreme, unpredictable weather patterns, floods, landslides, droughts, extreme heat waves, coral reef bleaching, melting glaciers, rising sea levels, and the list goes on. We, humans, are the cause of climate change disasters triggered by global warming. Endless deforestation, rapid industrialization, continued dependence on fossil fuels, increased consumption of goods, high energy use. Ranking high in the list of countries most vulnerable to climate change-induced natural disasters, Sri Lanka too has committed to the Paris Agreement. We are pursuing a path to creating a greener, cleaner country in line with world targets. Sri Lanka has committed to reduce greenhouse gas emissions in 6 sectors, namely energy, transportation, agriculture, industry, forestry, and waste management, while introducing carbon net zero pathways to achieve carbon neutrality by 2050. Under the focus areas of food security, resilient ecosystems, and healthy living, Sri Lanka has committed to adapt and build resilience to the impacts of climate change disasters triggered by global warming.
When it's come to this general scenario in our normal life, before we are going to the industry, right? So we face a lot of impacts. It can be positive and negative. So when it's come to our day-to-day life, if you go to a bank, sometimes most of us nowadays we use these in like e-transaction, all that. But after that also, for some cases, we go for the bank, we have to stay on a queue. So when we are staying in a queue, what we are wasting, it will be a time, right? And if you go for the organization, you might have a lot of coordinators who are supporting staff. They take emails of everything, even sometimes without no purpose. Sometimes, okay, I need to show that document, so I will take printouts. They don't have a particular purpose for that, but they take all the printouts, and what happened is later it will be the paper waste. And also, I think you might have this will be one of the big good experience in most of the boardrooms nowadays. They are with a lot of glass doors, open areas. But after that also, when you're keeping the any meeting, you switch on all the LED lights, spotlights, and then you put the AC as well. Though there's a atmospheric air, you don't open the windows, but it is designing is for the eco-friendly designing, but we don't use it. So ultimately what happens, we do kind of we do a energy waste, right? And also when it's come to the food, it can be your home, your working place, canteen, or other or food shop. You see a lot of wastage. People don't buy what they want, people buy unnecessary things. Even in YouTube you see so many food related everything. Sometimes they eat only peas and they don't eat, so all are wastage. And it is because the unnecessary resource usage may resource consumption, and we make a waste. Waste is a cost for us. It's true that there is a saying, waste is money, but if only you make the waste. But what if we reduce the weight? I mean, let's cut off the generation. Let's make a balance in our resource consumption. Then, at the generation point when we stop it, there will be no waste to treat, no waste to dispose, then no waste of money. So, therefore, we need to save cost, time. So, ultimately, when you save those things, it will return to the environment as the positive impact. So this will happen not only the organization but also in our outer, in very small little place. So that's what we are going to talk about today. Lean concept is about, very simply we saying, removing what we don't need. So removing what we don't need in terms of, for example, we have dropped down some 5 actions like fewer steps, less waiting, less repetition, less confusion. So if I elaborate it with our day-to-day life, for example, you think when you come after a work, you put your wallets and your keys everywhere, and then you not prepare for the next day, you just go to sleep after having dinner. And when you wake up in the morning, okay, you need to iron your clothes. If you're not a routine person, you are looking at your keys, and you switch on the your phone and do everything, and you're looking for everything. So it's time waste. You do repetition actions and you have with the confusion. But for example, think when you come to the home at night, and if you have a place to keep your keys, your wallet, and you are the washers in a shelf, and then you come, and once you have the dinner, you finish it off. Weekly you iron your all the clothes for a 1 week, no repetition after that, and you have label everything at the kitchen, no confusion. So it's like a smart life, right? You have a life with all the complexes and confusion. You put a time and you try to resolve something and then put it into the smart way, which fewer your steps, fewer waiting time, because you don't need to wait until you prepare everything because you already prepared for the next last day. So likewise, when you reduce the repetition, your life becomes smarter. So that means you do things correctly. So doing things rightly is known as the lean concept. So that is the purpose. That means in the lean concept, we always wanted to remove the waste. So here what we're doing is we remove what we don't need. Doing things right, lean, when we keep lean in this side of the balance, do the right things, come to the other side of the balance. They can balance. It is like the um, two sides of the same story. So basically, when it's come to the manufacturing industry or the industry, we basically pay our attention for five key perspective areas, that is energy, water, material in terms of raw material, emissions and waste. So when we talk about the energy, water, materials, these are the resources that we are using. So in real scenario, we always need to use resources in an optimum way. That means less resources, more performances. So then only you will achieve the sustainability. When we talk about the green manufacturing, it is always about using only what we really need. As I told you in the last few slides, it is about doing do the right thing under the environmental perspective. So when we do the right thing, we ultimately protect the environment, or we ultimately protect the thing which cannot replace. So the best waste is the waste that we never created. There are seven environment waste types. So once you understand these seven environment waste type, you will try to eliminate it or reduce it. So we as an organization, we always need to think about that we do the less disposal to the ecosystem and less harm to the biodiversity. You always need to think these seven environment waste types, and always you need to first start to think how you gonna reduce it. I mean, technical tools that you can generally use to analyze the green performances. You well known about the life cycle assessment. What this will do is it will understand where does the biggest environment impact happen. Green manufacturing is not only about these factories, but also in other sectors. For example, in banking, which we are much of familiar, now banks have you have seen that they have reduced the paper waste. Now even they ask in the ATM, do you need a receipt? Do you want to proceed with that? So they wanted to reduce the paper generation, and they have used a lot of energy efficient buildings. There are some bank buildings that they have even obtained the LEED certificate, and also digital transaction instead of physical forms, which most of the private bank nowadays implementing these practices. So here you can see how they are going to eliminate the environment factors. For example, in banking, you see it's a paper waste, energy. But the lean concept, the theory developed later. The lean practice, lean came from the practice. So lean is not just the textbook theory, or it didn't develop by someone only in the academic format. It practiced from the Toyota Japan, because they wanted to survive after World War II. Why it is that? Because after the World War II, they had limited money, so they cannot afford wastage. They cannot afford wastage because it's cost money. Then they had limited materials. That means they have to use whatever the available material optimally. They cannot waste the limited space. Therefore, they cannot do extra production because there was a limited space. They don't have the capital. In that era, the Western people, they did the mass production. That means they had extra spaces, extra the production resources. They did the mass production. The problem was Toyota could not apply that model because of these limited issue, the limitations of these resources that they face after the World War II. So then they had a question, okay, how we gonna produce a good product to our customer with our existing resources without any wastage? That means how you gonna give a good product for the customer, only the value, only what value to the customer. In a lean manufacturing is a way of working that focus on removing waste so that we can give more value using less time, less effort, fewer resources. So we going for the maximum efficiency with minimum waste. Um, the lean principles, we have main 5 topics. It is the concept of lean. So first we define our values, like what our customer need or what customer is willing to pay for, and then we map our value streams. We identify all our steps within the process, so the value and value added one, and then we remove the non-value added activities, and we create a flow, and we ensure that this will this work will smoothly go without any interruptions. So like we create a flow without any bottlenecks. So the green manufacturing, we had 5 criteria, the 5 concepts, and then in green manufacturing we had 7 waste types. In lean philosophy, again we have the 8 forms of operational waste, which address the excess transportation, the excess inventory, excess motions of the workers, workstation because of the workstation layout, all that, idle time, overproduction, overprocessing, defects, and non-utilized defects, overproduction, waiting, non-utilized talent, transportation, inventory, motion, and extra, the overprocessing. Very well-known tools. I think you also might using at your organization. The 5S concept, the Kaizen, Kanban, especially in IT sector. Again, the SMED, and also other one is Pokayoke. This is a error proofing one. So in a way, up to now, you might thinking, okay, lean is about reducing the waste generation and productivity and reduce the wastage of time. Green is about reduce the harm to the environment, reduce the 7 waste type of environmental perspective, and resource conservation. So lean and green differ in origin, but converge deeply with outcomes. So the lean is about optimum use of resources and reduce the waste. Green is about the conservation of resources and reduce the depletion of resources. Then let's see how we gonna sync the downtime to the environment impact. Let's say you have overproduction. There are a lot of unsold products which is cause for waste and emission. As I mentioned you, most of the brand they are selling shredded or either incinerated.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
In school where durability is so important, this uniform is worn day after day after day. We are on the set of our back to school advert. What we're really going to look at today is durability and which is the bigger test, in the playground or up at the laboratory.
If we can make sure our products are longer lasting, really durable, we can make sure we make less of an impact and therefore we'll be closer to our net zero goals.
As adults, we can't predict what they're going to do next.
So how do we build that into our product development? What is going to be the best for the customer and the best for the environment? Those two things have to come together.
We write these tests to make sure that we can really substantiate that claim that we're making on our product. And with the scale of something like school uniform, any little change can make such a huge impact.
How we can integrate the lean and green, because now you see there are practical examples we can implement it. So how are we going to implement it from our side? This best practice.
3 hours of work done in 10 seconds with an AI agent. Watch this. So I need a
Zero waste,
Bought my own container from home.
but big on taste. This is what your local Coles could one day look like. Coles wants to run on 100% renewable energy by 2025 and eventually deliver zero greenhouse gas emissions.
People have been talking about renewable for decades, but it now is a reality.
This is becoming the common sense for corporate Australia.
An ambitious goal that could pay off in more ways than one. Estelle Greeping, 7 News.
So the best solution for that will be the green value stream mapping. So the green value stream mapping is an extension of the traditional value stream mapping that integrates the environmental performance into the process analysis. So when it's come to the the general value stream mapping, it only map the time and the cost, where the time is wasted and cost is wasted. Including green into there, it will show where are the time wasted, where is the cost, and what is the environmental resource wasted. So then we put environment together that. So when it's come to the material and information flow of this value stream mapping, when we introducing green part, it will show where the energy, water, waste, and emission chemicals were wasted. So when it's come to the GVSM, it measure most of the time it measure this environment impact directly, and we want to give a metrics for that. That means you cannot just say this, because these environment impact are different. So how we going to compare it or how we going to measure it, it's very important. So then we are going to talk about how we going to implement this green value stream mapping, like how we going to implement the structure of lean and green. First one is we have to identify the product family. That means what is the product process in a factory. You might develop in different for example, in coconut manufacturing factory, the coconut based manufacturing facility, you have a coconut oil, again coconut cake, coconut milk, and also there are some byproducts, um, and the coconut shelf is again using for the boilers, and all these are there. So then you have to define the product. Has used the extra movements for the generation of energy, extra motions, they have not built up different pathways or again different infrastructure to generate solar. They have used the existing space, so the less space, less motions, and they have used the existing motions of even the people to generate the waste. So that's how they have practically used for the urban designing of these green concept, the lean and green together, and practically in a regional wise. And I have another examples for you to show where the Netherlands farmers have used this green and lean concept.
Holland is pretty crowded. Our land is quite expensive. Labor is expensive. So we have to be as efficient as possible. We have to be more efficient than others to compete. And that competition drives innovation and technology.
We decided to go for not more hectares, but for more yield per hectare. And that's the moment that we start looking into precision ag, precision technology. A lot of people think it's science fiction, but it really is not.
We have only 14.5 hectares, and we're producing around 100 million tomatoes a year. The idea about this greenhouse is we even use less water, we use 50% less energy. Our tomato plants grow in a hydroponic system, so we know for sure that everything is clean and we can steer everything very precisely. We use all the new techniques and all the innovations with a minimum impact on the environment.
My definition of precision farming is doing the right thing on the right moment, on the right place. Of course, we're more sustainable because we use less input, and that's economically good for me. We use a range of technology. We are using soil scans that measure the soil quality and the availability for nutrients in the soil, and then the thermal cameras can detect diseases or water stress. Implementing precision farming is a way of getting a better yield and a better quality. That we actually need the precision farming to do that.
sometimes the sustainable solutions are costing a bit more on the short term, but on the long term they should be more effective. And that's actually what we are seeing. You need to have the guts to invest in those kind of things for the long term.
So now we're going to talk about the context and barriers and drivers about this integration, because it's not easy to implement like we're talking. Okay, so the main barriers are, there are external barriers. So how it will enable, we have the barriers, so how we going to drive it to enabling the green lean as a real life practice. And also the respect of the people, the engagement and involvement of the problem solving. And then we call the Gemba works, like direct observation from waste resources. You do the observation, supplier partnership, the continuous improvement culture, and the performance monitoring are the 7-step technical roadmap that you can implement these green and lean. So you can see it's not the individual responsibility, but it's an overall collaborative responsibility, even in the industry, even in your outer world. So as per the conclusion, our training emphasized that lean removes the operational waste, the green reduce the environment waste, and when you integrate this yields and the stronger competitive advantage. And the tool is the GVSM, the most powerful tool that we can integrate lean and green together. So based on that, we can the success of this lean and green will be depending on the leadership, culture, knowledge, and the technology. So
thank you, Shashi, and thank you for the very insightful session. It was really, really really touching the both aspects about the PMSs and why we come over here and how we offer this future ready talent development. So we are an institute, and it is not only focusing on the academic development. We do really focusing on the industry developing experts, and we are really wanted to make future transforming leaders. And it's we are a transformation we are talking a transformation, and we are institute not only talking about the academic content only. So from the PMS Academy, you will be able to get core training programs and customer industry focused training, and we do have diploma pathways as well, and short-term certification and the webinars as well. The diploma programs under the PMSS Academy, if you really wanted to know about the PMSS, and if you really wanted to get connected, and if you really wanted to invest your people with the PMSS and get the most benefit with your people, so please do connect with us. And we have corporate partnership programs as well. If your organization really wanted to invest on your people and get the real corporate touch from the PMSS industry experts. So thank you again for the PMSS Academy for giving this kind of a training session and the learning opportunity for the future ready leaders to know about the new concept, the new integrated concept about the world. So thank you again, our resource person, Shashi.
Thank you, everyone. PMSS team, can you wait for a second? We will have a quick chat. Others are okay, can leave. And thank you very much for joining with PMSS. Thank you, everyone.